So what I tend to do is go out of my way rather than use okra made out of frozen packs. Actually go ahead and buy fresh okra and prep it. It's a little more effort in the sense that you have to, in a way, pluck off the ends of the okra seed and proceed to blend it. In this video we will not be doing the traditional style of hand chopped okra, since we have the luxury of a blender in the house. So the challenge, what we're sharing here, which is a little unique, is contrary to the way those of us who have relocated to this part of the world treat our okra. We're actually sharing a tip on how you can actually blend directly from this fresh stock, and then instead of freezing it, you actually end up freezing the blended okra itself. And in the early stages of trying out this method and teaching it to young folks, I had to share with them how to store this in your freezer in such a way that when you're actually ready to consume it, you can actually make enough for one person or two. But not only that, instead of storing this in a polythene bag like a lot of people tend to do, you actually put this in a cup, but it's not just a regular plastic cup. In the latter part of this video, you'll be able to see and appreciate what that allows you to do. So what we have left here is the chopped okra, and the next stage is to fill the blender with a little bit of water and then transfer this chopped okra into the water, and then I will proceed to blend these pieces. And you can see that this okra actually draws, and when you look at what you buy frozen, you lose this part of your this lovely vegetable. You can see the draw as I put the ends together, and that's what you get from using fresh okra before it's frozen. Beyond that, you'll also find out that once your okra is stored in a freezer before it's actually cut, when you cook it, you still have to blend it, wait for it to defrost, and they tend to get soggy. You actually lose a lot of the taste, and your delicacy doesn't really come out as perfectly as someone would like it to be. So I always leave enough room, because some of the okra, when you do blend it, tend to float at the top. So this one is a little bit overfilled, but I'm going to just try and squeeze them all in. I set my blender to the dice option so that way still leaves me with some little chunky bits, but that will be the next stage of this video. So what I've gone to do is to blend the okra, and you can see with the setting placed on the dice option on my blending kit, I was able to get a nice mix of the okra. You still have a lot of the freshness in place, and this is something we're doing which is a little different and unique to our food lab. Instead of pouring this into polythene bags and struggle with having to have them peeled out or wait for them to defrost, we actually do something very simple here. We pour this straight into these plastic cups, and you can then put this in a carton and then store it right in your freezer. And nothing special needs to be done at this point. You can just put this in your freezer and it'll be frozen, and it is just ready to take out. And I'll now show you another simple trick on how to get this out of the cup. So we're able to squeeze about 4 cups out of this, and then we'll save the other pieces with the next batch, which we'll be making. So I'll transfer this in a special square container. This is going right into the freezer compartment. On the next section of this video, I'll show you what a frozen finished product will look like, and then beyond that I'll actually show you how this is then removed from the cup and placed in a container for you to cook. So what you have here is now the frozen okra. Now you can see that it's inside the plastic cup, which I demonstrated earlier, and I usually just throw it in a square rectangle container or square container, depending on how much of the space is required. And this is pretty much the way it comes out. But the interesting thing is, usually a lot of people will have this to defrost, but oftentimes I just wait till I'm actually ready, and then because I've come up with this simple concept of using this plastic cup, it makes it easy for me to remove, and I'll just show you how that works. You can use a piece of fork or even a plastic, and you can see that this actually cuts straight through. Because it does, I can pretty much just peel off this cup here. It's actually much more simpler. And I take this out, so it's almost like this kind of nice ice cream kind of looking feel to it, and that then goes inside this cup. I turn it to the side, and I just basically, it's ready to cook. Most times I can get this on medium level heat, and this will melt in about 5 minutes. But if you're not in a hurry, you can often just leave this to slowly defrost. And the taste from this way of preparing okra, especially if you're using it for stew, is so far superior than what you get. And you can see that even at this regular temperature, it's starting to melt. Okra tends to melt very quickly, so that's one thing that you have in your favor. And I hope you've learned something useful. Stay connected to us at Dr. O's Food Lab. We have more tips to share. Enjoy.